Nietzsche told you to create your own values. He did not tell you that doing so would require you to become unrecognizable to everyone who loves you, and unrecognizable to yourself. This video is about the violence Nietzsche concealed in his most famous command. Not violence against others, violence against the self you have been, the self you still believe you are. Two questions will haunt what follows. First, what does it mean to create values when everything you call good was handed to you by the dead? Second, can you actually do this, or is the Übermensch a horizon you approach but never reach, forever becoming and never arrive? Nietzsche begins with a diagnosis. The values you call your own, kindness, humility, selflessness, compassion, are not yours. They are the residue of a slave revolt that took place 2,000 years ago. You are still living in its ruins, and you mistake the rubble for a foundation. On the Genealogy of Morals, Nietzsche traces the origin of modern morality to a moment of historical resentment. The weak, unable to dominate the strong, redefined the terms of the game. What the powerful called good, vitality, pride, conquest, the will to dominate. The powerless called evil. What the powerful despised, meekness, submission, renunciation of the world, the powerless called holiness. This inversion succeeded because it weaponized guilt. The strong, for the first time in history, began to feel ashamed of their strength. Christianity convinced the lion to apologize for being a lion. Nietzsche writes, the slave revolt in morality begins when resentment itself becomes creative and gives birth to values. Resentment, not love, is the engine of Christian morality. 2 millennia later, you inherit this inversion as if it were natural law, as if meekness had always been virtue and pride had always been sin. You praise self-sacrifice without asking who benefits from your sacrifice. You valorize humility without asking why the powerful want you humble. You call obedience to suffering strength. Nietzsche calls this morality. He also calls it a sickness, a pathology that has infected the entire West and turned life affirmation into life denial. Ask yourself, how many of your deepest convictions would collapse if you stopped asking, is this good? And started asking, who does this serve? Whose power does my weakness sustain? The herd does not want you to ask that question. It has spent centuries training you to mistake obedience for virtue, passivity for peace, resentment for righteousness. You think you chose your values. Nietzsche says you inherited them from a tradition designed to keep you small, and you have never questioned the inheritance. This is the first violence required for revaluation. The recognition that almost nothing you believe is yours. You are a vessel for the resentment of the ancient powerless. What would remain if you emptied that vessel? Nietzsche does not promise you will like the answer. He'll learn the answer. But he insists you cannot create your own values until you see how thoroughly the old ones were created for, and created specifically to make you harmless. Nietzsche's madman runs into the marketplace and screams that God is dead. The crowd laughs. They do not understand that he is not announcing liberation. He is announcing catastrophe. God's death is not a triumph. It is the removal of the last external ground for meaning. If there is no divine lawgiver, then every value is a human invention, which means every value is arbitrary. The crowd still goes to church. They still speak of good and evil, but the foundation has rotted, and they continue the ritual without noticing. Nietzsche writes, God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. He continues, how shall we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? This is not atheism as relief. This is atheism as vertigo. You stand at the edge of an abyss where every command you ever obeyed do not kill, love thy neighbor, is now a preference, not a law. Most people cannot bear this. They replace God with politics, with science, with progress, with some new absolute. They need something to bow to. Nietzsche calls these people the last man. They blink when they ask, what is love? What is creation? And they blink. They have invented happiness. They are warm, comfortable, and utterly empty. The last man has made the world small enough to manage, and himself small enough to fit it. The question is whether you can stand in the abyss without inventing a new idol. Can you create values without pretending they come from somewhere else? Can you affirm your values as yours, invented, contingent, finite, without the comforting lie that they are universal, eternal, or necessary? Or do you need the lie? Do you need to believe that what you value is what anyone should value, that your preferences are laws written into the fabric of reality? Nietzsche does not answer this for you. He only asks whether you are strong enough to live without the answer, to create without the guarantee. To create your own values, you must first destroy the ones you inherited. This is not a metaphor. Nietzsche means it literally. The self that values what the herd values must die. You cannot build a new tower on the foundation of the old cathedral. You must raise it. Nietzsche calls this process revaluation. It is not addition. It is not reform. It is annihilation and reconstruction from the ground up. What you thought was good, kindness, pity, altruism, may have been cowardice disguised as virtue. What you thought was evil, pride, ambition, cruelty, may have been strength you were taught to suppress. Revaluation does not mean flipping the signs, calling evil good and good evil. It means questioning the frame itself, asking why these categories exist at all. Why do you value what you value? Because you chose it, or because you were told to choose it? Because it serves your life? Or because it serves someone else's power? Most people never ask this. They live their entire lives inside someone else's moral grammar, speaking a language they did not invent and cannot escape. Nietzsche writes, "Become who you are." But who you are is not buried beneath the herd morality, waiting to be unearthed. It is what remains after you burn it down. This is why revaluation is violent. You cannot keep the parts of yourself that depend on the old values. If your identity is built on being good, selfless, obedient, then those must die. If your identity is good Christian, loyal citizen, selfless friend, then creating your own values means becoming a stranger to everyone who knew you. They will not recognize you. You will not recognize yourself. And here is the question Nietzsche does not resolve. Is what remains after this destruction enough to build a life on? Or do you destroy yourself only to discover there was nothing underneath? That you were only ever the sum of what others demanded you be? Nietzsche offers no guarantee. Revaluation is a gamble. You bet everything you are on the possibility that you could become something more. Nietzsche's Übermensch is not a destination. It is a direction. You do not become the Übermensch. You become toward the Übermensch, forever approaching and never arrive. This is the cruelty of Nietzsche's project. There is no finish line. No moment when you can say, I have arrived, I am complete, uninterrupted. Every value you create is provisional. Every self you build is temporary. Because to stop creating is to ossify, to become the very thing Nietzsche despised. The settled, the certain, the finished. To declare this is who I am is to betray the process. The Übermensch is the one who can bear this endless becoming without retreating into the false comfort of identity. Most people cannot bear this. They need to believe they have found the answer, that their values are final, their identity stable, their purpose clear and unchanging. Nietzsche offers none of this. He offers only the demand that you keep moving, keep creating, keep destroying what you have built and building again. What does this look like in practice? It looks like rejecting every consolation, every story you tell yourself to make the world bearable. It looks like choosing hardship over comfort when hardship is what you need to grow. It looks like saying yes to your life exactly as it is. Not because it is easy, but because anything less is cowardice. This is amor fati, the love of fate. Not passive acceptance, but active affirmation. Nietzsche asks, if you had to live your life again, exactly as it has been, infinitely, every pain, every failure, every humiliation repeated forever, would you say yes? If the answer is no, then you are living someone else's life. If the answer is yes, then you have begun to become who you are. But even this yes is not final. You must say it again tomorrow, and again the day after, forever. There is no arrival, only the endless work of affirming. We began with 2 questions. The first, what does it mean to create values when everything you called good was handed to you by the dead? Nietzsche's answer is that creation requires destruction. You cannot build on the ruins of slave morality. You must clear the ground entirely, burn it down, and begin from nothing. The second question, can you actually